straight up. Blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and on the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the truth. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the truth. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the truth. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop.
Mr. Watts, he is armed himself shots. Shots, watch it, tear gas. Light rounds, also I can see that.
Just for Quendon! The man is a boxer, man. Why can't put in a boxer, man, to do that?
But since my wasn't there, no, you come on the East Coast.
You listen to me.
Right? No, you come on the East Coast.
You listen to me.
You gotta listen to me too, man.
I am listening to
you. Now, I see you on the East Coast. The day when they get a protest of them, the next day, that's when you see one bigger heads come up to talk to my family. Right? And that's bad. If we didn't do a protest, you want to see nobody for justice. You see? I'm not holding back nothing. I'm not holding back nothing. I just need justice for my family.
I get visitors all of a sudden. All of a sudden, you all have visitors.
This is Joker. Who is that Joker? That piece of plum. I got it.
Pressure, 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 boss pipe.
Pressure bus pipe boy. Umaninza Guyana de underwater. Oh, on the wrong. Sorry. Umaninza Guyana de under pressure. What? Bangami is $400 pong. Trout $400 pong. Oh, you go buy that will sell back by. I just come and tell about bisa buy me little fish and mix with me little crab and sell. Thing that just raise, thing just double the price, just double. Oh, partner. What you could do now? You don't squeeze out the juice for the Guyanese people. The beer hawks left, what you could do with the orange? We can't eat the fucking hawks that we can eat. Pressure bus pipe, partner, pressure bus pipe. When you put up a fucking 20,000 this week, next week you put up a 10,000, other week you put up a fucking 15,000 end of the month, you gotta still borrow on 20,000, but somebody will pay the bill. Right now, like water bill, more dear on light bill. And then if you get cut off, me a walk little crab. Now crab, man, is walk little crab. That's it. Me a do business. You gotta pay commercial. On 7.5, you gotta pay 15,000, but just put a man. Nah, nonsense, man. Me the people try rob you back your back, them a rob you in front of your face. Now look, the goods gone. What I'm gonna do here, buddy? Light bill, phone bill, NI.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Good evening. My name is Mark Benchop. Let's rock and roll. This evening, we have lots of things to talk to you about. Thank you so much for sharing the link. And as people gather around, wherever you are, whichever part of the world, I hope that the information that we are going to give to you this evening is always of benefit to you and to expose what is happening in Guyana. That is what we do right here on 107.1 FM. All right, let's get ready to rock and roll. Thanks again to all of you who have already shared the link and for those of you who will share the link. This here, let me see, let me refresh some of your memories and let me see how many of you know this part of Guyana. Oil-rich Guyana. Oil-rich Guyana, where everybody else except a few Guyanese who are connected, a few, and we can count these individuals on our fingers. Sorry, my hands are not that small. Thank you. And so we can count those people on our fingers, right? And for the most part, or all of them are connected to the corrupt PPP regime. I repeat, all of them, every single one of them are connected to the corrupt PPP regime. Some of them are part of the underworld. In other words, they're in illegal business. Some are drug lords, some are smuggling gold, some are money launderers. Those are the type of individuals who are, for the most part, are benefiting from this corrupt installed PPP regime. The oil deal and all these manner of things with billions of dollars, you know, Guyanese are not benefiting from it. Let's just be realistic, right? Guyanese are not benefiting from this. So here's where we go. I am waiting to see if you guys know this here. If you know this part of Guyana, especially those of you who are in the diaspora, and you know, those of you who are in the diaspora, some people love to cuss you guys out and to say that you guys are of no value except when you give a little couple dollars. That is when you're of value, right? Of value. But take a look at this here. Let me see if you guys know this, especially for those of you who have been out of Guyana for about 70 something, 150 something years, and so forth. All right, let's not waste any time. Some of you guys just don't know. You've been out of Guyana for too long, or maybe you're from Linden. If we had shown you Dutchy Boat Landing or Adams Boat Landing or something, you would have known, or Kokwani or Aituni, or even on the quarantine. You probably may have mistaken this here for Rosignal Ferry. What do you call it? Rosignal Ferry, the Torani, and so forth. For those of you who remember those days. This is a back of, I do believe, Stabroek Market. The boat, yeah, the boat's telling. That's where all those small boats go. And look at the condition of the buildings. Look at the condition. Oil-rich Guyana, right? This is what they boast about. This is what they love talking about. Irfan Ali and these guys. They love talking about these things. Oh my gosh. Look at what's happening. You know, for 23 years, these vagabonds, these political vagabonds were in office. They couldn't do anything. Look at how they run that country down. The only reason they're talking about all this thing and development. Shameless creatures. Development. They are developing Guyana. And look who they have. A bunch of Mickey Mouse who are their spokesperson and all these different, a bunch of kangalangs, a bunch of dotish individuals, a bunch of flatfoot hustlers, could hardly read and write, could hardly spell, could hardly speak. These are the individuals, a bunch of never see, come to see, a bunch of no good, a bunch of nimakarams, a bunch of katahars, a bunch of korhis, a bunch of terekabod, nanika chodor kalandike. Well, I can't say the last one, but that is exactly, it's not that I can't say it, I wouldn't say it, but that's just, I wouldn't say it publicly, but that's just who they are. They are basically, you know, I don't even want to say it because you guys know I'm kind of a decent guy. I don't even want to say that these are the leftovers, you know, when you go to, I really don't want to say it. But when you flush and there's always a little piece, you know, popping back up, you know, a little piece of what? That's who they are. They have no vision for Guyana. None whatsoever. They are all hustlers. They are thief men, thief women, wicked people. You know, they're worse than those guys who, and they love to blame, the guys at the Stabroek Market clock, pick and pocket. These vagabonds in office are the biggest thieves. A bunch of no goods, a bunch of low-lives individuals who, by chance, by luck, got installed. By chance, by luck. Now, let me not get too worked up here, right? Prem Prasad and all you guys, good evening. Brenda Casey, GT, Rude Gal, and the whole crew. All of you. Rhonda Lane, Mavis, Davis Wells. Every one of you, good evening. Ann Court. Hi, Ann Court. Good. Forget about the tone of saying hi, Ann Court. Lorraine Beat. I don't know how to, you know, Lorraine, B-E-E-T-E. I really don't know how to pronounce that name. I don't want to attempt to pronounce it publicly, but we'll just say Lorraine B. Good evening to you, Lorraine, and welcome, all of you. Good evening, and welcome to Straight Up. This is at the back of Stabroek Market. Look at the building. Look at where people got to disembark. They come off the boat, school children, and all these manner of things. And these are the vagabonds in the PPP who say they care about Guyana and development. And all sort of development they love to talk about. Look, development, that is development. When the boats go there, look at the building. Look at it. Look, it probably was that way since, what is it, 18-something, early 1800? This building is probably over 200 years old and nothing at all. It is dangerous. They're probably waiting for something to happen. And usually when something happens, that is when they rush it. They rush to make money. They're saying they have a contract and this fake bidding process and all these things because they know they want to give the contract to their friends and cronies and hustlers. That is what they do. They're not about good governance. They're not about democracy. They're not about anything good. They're not even patriotic. You name one of them in the PPP who's patriotic. And don't tell me anything about that one who claims that he's a bishop. These are no good. These guys are flatfoot hustlers. They're kunumunus. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know. I came on all worked up because when I see what is happening in Guyana, you know these people don't mean well. You know that they're hustlers. You know that they're taking a lot of things for granted. We know that democracy is dead in Guyana. Democracy is dead in Guyana. We've had an elections won by the coalition. Look at that, 33 seats to the coalition. This is nothing that is being made up. This is not propaganda. Why do you, all of you, and I'm speaking directly to the PPP supporters, why do you think the PPP is afraid of the elections petitions? That's all I'm asking you PPP folks who are watching this show right now. Why do you guys think that the PPP, the installed PPP regime, who were talking about, oh, let there be an elections petition, and the elections petition will expose the coalition of rigging the elections? Why? Why? Why do you suppose that? Look at this lowlife, Mohammed Shamin. He calls himself a Muslim. Then he's going to go to the mosque and he's going to take off his sandals and go down on his knees. And he's going to say, Assalamu alaikum, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah. Right? And look at him. Look at his language. This exactly what he's saying here. That is exactly who he is. Muhammad Shamudi, Shamun, Shamin. It should be Shimin, she mean. You low life piece of, oh, look how they're getting worked up already. You know why they get worked up? And it's not like we're bothered about them. But we love to put them on so that you guys can see what they are like. Look at this. Look at this Katahar. Look at this Korhi. Look at this low-life guy. I bet my last 25 cents or a quarter, or as we say in Guyana, bob, for those of you who remember, that this guy is living in somebody's attic. I bet my last dollar that he's living in an attic, and right now he's cold and his bumps are raising, and he doesn't understand what we're saying here. So he cannot communicate with us properly. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. What is his definition of a low life? Is he looking at Jack Dave? Is he talking about Jack Dave? You see, one of the things with these Katahar, this Korhi, right? This mud dweller individual probably lock off on some big bottle of rum right now. The first thing they love to do is to say low life. Because remember, he believes that people who don't look like him are lazy, they're not like walk, they're not like this, they're not like, that's the first thing they love to say, and that's the first thing they love to do. But look at this Korhi. Y'all take a good look at this Korhi. This Katahar, he's making no sense. I can bet my last 25 cents that he got kicked out of nursery school. And since he got kicked out of nursery school, he never go back. I bet he doesn't even know how to spell his name. This is probably a false name. Or his false name probably named Kali, some crew barman or something like that. That is how he doesn't make sense. You low life piece of you have money to do business. This Katahar, you have money to do business. You see, it's all about money. You have money. What you got to do with anything, you Katahar? Yeah, you Korhi. What money got to do with anything? I better talk about money here, why? I better talk about money. The program now start. Your bumps raised already. It's as though you were sitting here, here. You want to see? Come to New York and see where you live. You live in a filthy, cockroach-infested attic. That is where you live. You probably can't even spell your name properly. I'm sure either someone of your niece or your mamu or your chachi must spell your name and put your picture up on Facebook because you don't know if you do that. Somebody's probably typing for you. You Katahar, look, you caught me on the wrong night, man. And since you caught me on the wrong night, you get a trophy for tonight, you little Katahar. All right, welcome back. You know, the hurtful part is as soon as they get the trophy, as soon as they get the award, boom, they're blocked, they're done with, gone. So he's done with, he's gone. Thank you, Lemon. He's done with, he's gone. They cannot have a proper conversation. That right away, the thing just hurt him. Imagine I now start this program and this thing tickling them, and he in his attic and his bumps raised. Instead for him to switch off and go and watch or listen, you know that they love to listen to crazy stuff. So we don't deal with crazy stuff here. Go and watch this one here, man. Behave like a real madman as always. Go and watch them. Good evening to you guys and welcome back to Straight Up. Sometimes you just got to put these guys in their places. That's what you got to do. Let me say good evening to Francine and all the other folks over there at Long Island Nursing Home. Good evening to all of them. I'm told that they're tuned in every single night, religiously watching this program. Francine, I hope you're feeling a little better, and all of the other folks at the Long Island Nursing Home there. All right, let's continue, man. These guys, gosh. I wish I had some cockroach spray around me, man. Spray them out, spray them on the screen, let them get lost. But you guys know when we're hurting them, right? Now back to this here. Look at the condition. Look at the condition of this here. This telling that school kids got to travel in these boats. Look at this. Oil-rich Guyana. They love to boast and brag. They love to talk about oil-rich Guyana and all manner of things. Anyways, let's move on, right? We were talking about the elections and we were talking about the actual results. Look at the actual results. But notice every single time we talk about the elections results and we talk about the SOPs and we talk about how the PPP is afraid of the elections petitions, these folks bumps raise. Watch out for another trench crapper jumping out the trench and coming to come. Just watch out. Let's give them 2 minutes. Watch another one coming just now. They don't like to hear the truth. Look at it. 33 seats for the coalition, 31 seats for the PPP, and 1 seat amongst the small parties. But look who won the elections. Look who won the elections. And this is what makes the PPP afraid. It gets them afraid because it is the truth. They're running from the truth because if they had nothing to hide, you know what they would have been saying? Let us have the elections petitions. Let us have all of the SOPs. The SOPs are in the courts. They're sitting right there. And this is what I want their supporters to hear, that the SOPs are right there in the court. They don't have to follow Aubrey Norton or put their goons to follow Aubrey Norton. That donkey cart vegetable guy that used to sell okra, dry up okra and burro on a donkey cart. He's now one of the goons walking around with a camera that works at DPI, walks around whenever he sees Aubrey Norton. Where your SOPs? Where your SOPs? You don't have to go to Aubrey Norton to ask Aubrey for no SOPs. The court has all of the SOPs. So go in front of Freedom House and say, let us get this elections petitions over. Let us expose whoever has to be exposed. Let us open up the SOPs. Let us go through everything right there in the courts with both elections petitions. But you know what? They don't want the elections petitions to be heard You know, and I'll be very straightforward with you guys, especially the PPP guys. You know what make them want the SOPs or the elections petitions to be heard? Because they know that once they open the SOPs, we're going to see exactly what happened. We're going to see the sort of gymnastics that played out in the SOPs. And if the PPP had nothing to hide, then they would have been saying, let's get on with the elections petitions. Let the court open the SOPs, and let us see what's inside of those things. But every time, and I'm going to speak a little slowly for you PPP folks, every time the court makes its way in wanting to hear the elections petitions, Anil Nandalal pops up and blocks it, attempts to block it. If they don't go to the appellate courts in Guyana, they go to the CCJ to block it. Every single move for the elections petitions to be heard, where all of us, all Abi, would be able to see exactly what transpired during the 2020 March 2nd general and regional elections. We all want to. We may have our opinions. And thus far, based on the evidence, it is pointing in the direction that the PPP has a lot to hide. And when they have a lot to hide, it is saying to me, it is saying to majority of you sensible people out there that the PPP has rigged the March 2nd general and regional elections, that they have rigged it. Mind you, we hardly hear the PPP supporters are talking about SOPs. Mind you, the PPP guys, the officials, like a Nanda Lal and a Jack Dale and a Irfan Ali and all these guys, they're no longer talking about elections petitions. They're no longer talking about SOPs because they know that was just a smokescreen. They knew that it was a propaganda, and if they fill that in the minds, they force it in the minds and the heads of their supporters, then their supporters are going to think that something actually went wrong. And SOPs. Now, I want to know what the truth is, apart from my opinion. I want to be able to see what's in those SOPs. And my gosh, if those SOPs are open, the PPP would be ashamed of itself. Because I am convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the PPP has rigged the elections. Hence their reason for being afraid of the elections petitions. Why you think they ran away from the elections petition and they are now spending hundreds of millions of dollars into a fake commission of inquiry into the elections? It is because they want to play reverse psychology. And then that is what they want. They want to brainwash their support base and also some members of the coalition who may be gullible into believing that something went wrong and it was mainly on the side of the coalition. There's no truth to that. This is not to say that something had happened, but it's pointing, a preponderance of evidence is pointing in the direction of the PPP. You guys got me, right? You guys are hearing me loud and clear. The PPP are the convicts in the elections, March 2nd general and regional elections. They are the convicts, not the coalition guys. And again, this is not to say that the coalition guys are all angels, mind you. It's not to say that. Let me see what some of you are saying since I have no guest this evening. No more trench crapples. You guys let me know when you see a trench crapple. Let me know when you see a trench crapple. I want to move on to something else. But before we do, let me remind you guys of what Anil said. Anil said, fraud is fraud. Fraud once committed makes everything a nullity. Everything that is tainted by fraud is void. Ab initio, meaning whatever, it's Latin, meaning from the inception, ab initio, from the inception. So in other words, if fraud is fraud, that means Anil Nandalal is admitting that the PPP is in office through fraud. Anil Nandalal's word, fraud. So in essence, we have a fraudulent government. We have a government that has been installed. Anil Nandalal has confirmed that. Here is it, the evidence. All of these boxes, and we'll continue to show you guys these sort of things. We're not going to sleep on it at all. What else we can talk about? These two, the acting chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Janet Cummings, and acting Chief Justice Roxanne George. Months ago, they said that these folks should be confirmed. Aubrey Norton said, yes, he has no problem with them being confirmed. Now, the PPP has changed its tune, changed its mouth, in saying that they're going to have a countrywide meetings about whatever changes they have in mind. That is just a facade to make it look as though they believe in democracy. But the truth of the matter is, they do not want these two persons there. They want to either keep the acting Chief Justice, who they may find some sort of likeness to, and they want to get rid of the acting chancellor so that they can put someone there they can control. It is all about controlling. That is what they are about. So we're not hearing anything about it. Remember, Aubrey Norton said, yes, he has no problem with these two being confirmed. The PPP has held up that process because they want to remove these individuals. They may look at it from a standpoint that the acting Chief Justice may have outlived her usefulness for the PPP, may have outlived her usefulness for the PPP. All right. Now, what else can we talk about? What else you guys want to talk about? This guy, Death. His name is Edwards, aka Death. Why do you guys think, and I've been thinking about this earlier today, why do you guys think that every time someone is accused of drug dealing and an indictment and all these sort of things, the PPP hastily rushed to cooperate to get these guys, look, we'll cut it short, we'll be straight up, these black guys, these African Guyanese guys, get them out of the way. But they're not turning the guys that don't look like these guys, who are 10 times more into the business of which they've accused this guy of being, cocaine business. Who are the biggest cocaine dealers in Guyana? And oh gosh, sometimes who are the biggest cocaine dealers in Guyana? Who are the biggest drug lords, known drug lords in Guyana, who disguise themselves as businessmen? Who are the biggest and well-known gold smugglers in Guyana? Money launderers in Guyana. Now washing their monies by becoming their own dredges, and they own this and they own that, and car dealership and horse track racing and all these sort of things. But yet the PPP is coming to us and send them off. Big Ed gone, Death gone, and who else they gonna get? They might, you never know, take a helicopter and go all the way to Perica or somewhere else and do whatever that's necessary. But watch the ride within, I'm not gonna say much anyways, because the list that was submitted to the PPP, to the Attorney General's chambers to hand over two specific individuals. But no, the PPP wouldn't sign off on that. Robeson Ben wouldn't sign off on that for obvious reasons. But they're comfortable with this. We understand why they're comfortable with that. What else can we talk about? What else you guys want to talk about? Look, Black Panther Wakanda, $3 billion in the box office. $3 billion. You see the power of your money? You see the power of your spending? You see the spending power you have? You guys see the spending power you have, right? You have that same spending power. I repeat, you have that same spending power in Guyana. If you don't spend, if you keep back 90% of your salary, save it, stop spending, stop going to the Palm Court, stop going to other places, just buy your little greens, do your little cook up, do your little shine rice, and enjoy yourself. And save your money for your kids to go to proper schools and all these different things. Guess who will suffer? Not you, because you eating. But you don't have to go in certain stores and buy a 50,000 Guyana dollars sneakers, because you're enriching people who don't like you. You're enriching people who hate you. You are enriching people who are embracing the oppressors. And when you spend your hundreds of millions of dollars and put it in the hands, put it in the pockets of individuals who don't like you, guess what happens? You eventually suffer. Your community suffer. And you know what? You're actually putting a brake on a bright future of your kids or your grandkids. Wake up, folks. Wake up and smell the coffee. Some of you love to run at Palm Court and these places so people could see you drinking a nice little Heineken and blah, blah, blah. But you're spending your money on people who don't like you guys. You run at the Marriott and you want to sit down and you want to eat. And when you eat and you eat and you eat and you eat and the food come up to 50-something thousand, you can't pay your bill. You're gone outside, send a taxi man to go get another. Don't live above your means. Do like what I used to do. Go and eat a puri. Go and buy a couple cassava pone or cassava balls, and you're all right. Don't live above your means. And stop spending your money to people or with people who don't like you. They may like your dollar, they may like your money, but at the end of the day, they don't like you. Guys, I repeat, be smart about your spending. Be smart about your spending. Hold back. Gosh, when are you guys going to get the message? Anyways, Black Panther, Wakanda. I haven't gone yet to see this new one. Or maybe I will with the family this weekend. $3 billion. $3 billion. Now let's get to this here now. This part where Irfan Ali is now asking, he wants to invite the Guyanese young lady actress that is part of this big success story of Wakanda, Black Panther. They want them. Irfan Ali wants them in Guyana. Guess why? So that he can take a picture. Because that's all he does. So that he can take a picture. He can take a picture. That is what it's about. Take a picture and that's it. And to camouflage the situation in Guyana. Make it appear as though they have racial unity and there's no problem with the race in Guyana, and that is Ben Sharp and others, Burke, and others in the U.S. and other parts that are dividing Guyana. You can't divide Guyana when the evidence is clear. There can be a one Guyana when the evidence is clear. Mind you, there have always been one Guyana. One people, one nation. That is the one Guyana we know. Now, look at this here now. Rastaman in y'all tail right now. Look, they're coming, one of them come as Rastaman now. One of them come as Rastaman now, saying PNC afraid of local government elections. It's not the list, it's the licks. This Rastaman is saying licks like peas on the PNC guys then. I beg to differ. On what this so-called Rastaman. I'm sure it's probably Kwame or right? It's one of them, right? Rastaman. It don't make no sense. And so Rastaman, because look, this is the first time we seen Rastaman, you know. And this is how these people come. If they get kicked out one end, they come back another end. And so that one come back as Rastaman now. A Rastaman can get where you get early o'clock because he ain't making sense. We ain't wasting time. Rastaman done gone in the trench. Done gone in the trench. No time to waste with these vagabonds. We know Rastaman is not Rastaman. Trust me. We know that. We're not going to pretend that we don't know. We know that that is not the one. It is not the one. These Rasta men, eh?
Right? Here. So here. You left me out. I got you all back. I just clean the spoiler. I know a guy now. Seriously, somebody got to carry fire. Don't change the thing.
Somebody got to carry the fire. Surely not you. You can't carry the fire. You don't even know what a fire is, right? But look, Black Panther raked in, and Wakanda Forever raked in $3 billion at the box office. $3 billion. And because of this popularity, Irfan Ali wants the actress, I believe two of them are from Guyana, one from Linden, the other one, I believe, roots in Georgetown or wherever they are. And Irfan Ali now wants them in Guyana because he wants photographs with them. He sees that as an opportunity to put him probably on the cover of some international newspaper. And so that is what this is about. He doesn't, I'm sure he would lie about it. I am almost certain that Irfan Ali wouldn't or hasn't taken his family to watch the movie. He nor any member of his cabinet, not even Jack Deal, none of them. He doesn't even understand the significance, the meaning of this movie and the impact that it has, particularly amongst African Americans, African Guyanese, Caribbean African folks, Africans around the world. He doesn't know the significance of that. But all he's concerned about is to have a photograph with them. A photograph with them. That is all he's concerned about. And if he can get a photograph, I hope he doesn't, but unless it's a cardboard box. If he gets a photograph with them, you know, he's going to use it for just one purpose. But I bet if those two young actresses, if they were living in Guyana, Irfan Ali wouldn't give a damn about who they are or about their future or about any photograph. He punishes, the PPP punishes people like those two actresses in Guyana. They have no regards for them. But because of this photo op he wants, I hope to God that Letitia Wright and the other young lady, the other actress, do not accept his invitation, because that is not what Wakanda, the movie, is all about. It is just not. Especially meeting and shaking a man's hand, a man who is oppressing persons of African descent in Guyana, who has all manner of discriminatory policies against persons of African descent. Occasionally, they throw a couple crumbs to some soup drinkers and some flatfoot hustlers, but that is not racial equality. It is just not. It is not economic equality. It is nothing. It is basically a sham. And I hope that young lady never meets with him. That's just my hope. But you don't know this world sometimes how it goes, right? That is my hope. And you guys should start a petition almost right away. Brenda, Casey, all you guys, every one of you, start a petition to write to Letitia. Well, to get all the Letitias now. First, they tried it with Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York. They insult Letitia James. They insult Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Anybody. They rush to insult who are of African descent and who don't like them. They rush to basically degrade them and in all manner. And we've got to get a petition going. We've got to get somebody started. Someone started. I will help to push it. Someone who understands petition, mind you, not just while. Someone who understands and who will be there to ensure that it's done. Let's do it together. Let's get that petition going. What else we can talk about? It's 45 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let me see. What else you guys want us to talk about? I scratched out. They put president there, but I scratched it out. This body announces 8% across the board pay hike for public servants. Some of their supporters might, yeah, them are getting off. Because, they don't. Them are getting off 8%. What sugar workers getting? Then you're going to hear all manner of things. 8% in oil-rich Guyana. 8%. I repeat, 8%. 8%. The right to pronounce it percent. 8%, right? 8% pay hike across the board for public servants. Sometimes the hypocrisy is so real that it's staring us in the face. But when it hits us, that is when we realize what's going on in Guyana. These vagabonds are up to no good. Now they want to give the public servants 8% in oil-rich Guyana, where billions upon billions of dollars of oil revenues, right? But 8% across the board. Now let's go and listen to Irfan Ali. Can we listen to Irfan Ali now? Before they were installed? Not so long before they were installed? Listen to this hypocrite, this boy.
We promise to increase the salaries of public servants by far more than 20%. By far more than 20%. Mr. Speaker, what about the nurses, the teachers, what about the police workers, the police officers? Aren't they equally important? Aren't they equally important? Mr. Speaker,
Guys, we don't make these things up. That's his voice. He can't be like Claudette Singh and pull a Shaggy. It wasn't me. That's his voice. That is him. These guys are not easy guys, They're not easy at all. But look, 8%. The man said, what about the teachers? They have no respect for teachers. What about the nurses? They have no respect for nurses. What about the police officers? They have no respect for police officers unless they can use them. And we'll get into that shortly. But this is the same guy that's talking about what about the police? Look at how they treat the police. Hooligans. Illegal. And they can't prove it yet, Legal. And they can't prove it yet. Prove it. I have been saying this all along. Prove it that the coalition rigged the elections. Prove it. That's all. They're in power now. They have all the evidence in their hands. Don't go to COI, send Jonathan Yearwood and them other couscous, Chanchi kind of guys to go and say nothing. Just say who caused who. Nobody wants to hear that. We want the evidence. The Commission of Inquiry can give no evidence, but all the evidence is right there in the elections petitions. The court has all of the evidence. But the PPP don't want the evidence to be aired. They don't want the SOPs to be opened up. I want it to be opened up. And if the court, based on what is in the SOPs and all the evidence in court right now that will come out through the elections petitions, if it proves that the coalition has done wrong, then I am saying this publicly, I will disassociate myself from the coalition if it is proven that they have done anything wrong to manipulate with the numbers or rig the elections. If they can prove, if the court can prove, not this wishy-washy commission of inquiry, then I'm telling you, coalition supporters, y'all upon y'all own. If it is proven, but so far nothing is being proven. I can't throw the coalition under the bus. I may throw some of the MPs, the lazy MPs, who do nothing, dash them under the bus quick, man. If some of y'all vex, I could understand, but dash them lazy ones. They're supposed to be standing up and fighting for us. But they don't do that. But if they have no evidence that the coalition rigged any elections or attempted to, then I'm not going to throw them under the bus. The evidence is more pointing that the PPP got something to hide. And based on that, we can conclude that the PPP has rigged the elections. And I'm not going to stop saying that. I know Kisoon, Freddie, and them guys talking about the coalition rigged the elections, but they're not showing any evidence. I am showing you guys the evidence. It is right in front of your faces. What's the evidence? The SOPs, the petitions. As long as the PPP, they're telling us, and we are seeing by virtue of their actions, that they are afraid of the elections petitions. They are afraid to have the court open the SOPs. It simply means, in my interpretation, that they have rigged the elections. What else you guys are saying? Anybody else jump out from the trench? I'm running through some of the comments here. I ain't see nobody from the trench here. Like them trench people. I'm glad that the trench people coming around. They're getting to understand. They're getting to understand, right? Which is good. It's really, really good. Thank you guys so much, all of you. Now, what else we can talk about before I get away from you guys tonight? What else do you guys want us to talk about? How many of you want to go to Queen's College tonight? Should we revisit what the allegations level against a sitting judge, Navindra Singh? Should we revisit that? I have a strong feeling. That you guys want us here. Thank you, Lemon. Here goes. For us to revisit this situation. We've got to be able to revisit this particular situation, allegations level against this judge. We will revisit it because it is important. We cannot have a sitting judge. Again, I repeat, we cannot have a sitting judge behaving in this manner. Again, I just say that this is nothing personal with the judge. I know the judge. I've communicated with him on a few occasions. So this is nothing personal. It's being objective. And if we want a good country, if we want a good judicial system, well, then we've got to get it right. So far, it is not. Now, let's get back to this judge and the allegations that he walked in and he misbehaved. The fact that it is reported that he went with the head of the major crime unit. Why is the major crime unit at QC with this judge? Why? Is that regular SOP, standard operations procedure? Is that what it is? That this guy, this judge, can pick up the phone, possibly what happened, call his friend, possibly his friend, who is head of major crime unit, Caesar, and say, Caesar, I need for you to accompany me at Queen's College. Is that how a country should be running? Is that how a judicial system should run? Is that how? If I'm wrong, you guys can tell me that I'm wrong. Is that how? Is this how we want our judiciary to be, our functionaries? to operate. But what's going to come out of this? What do you guys think is going to come out of it? The other child that is alleged to have put his hand and his daughter fought back and whatever, happens to be one of the officials of the Guyana the Ministry of Education, Hudson. I believe his name is Marcel Hudson. They claim that he's a dead PPP. Maybe that's why Priya Manik-Chan hasn't said anything about this matter. Nothing at all about this matter. Nothing. And you know what's not surprising? All those lawyers who were going out there and they were protesting for their colleague, and rightly so, they should protest. They're silent about this matter. Do they want to appear in front of such a judge? But they're not going to say anything about it because it's none of their business. It's not one of their own. So they're not going to say anything. The other thing is, the Guyana Barbecue Association. Are you guys surprised that they're quiet? Not a word from the Guyana Barbecue Association. Not a word from Priya. Not a word, not an official word from the Guyana Teachers Union. The president of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mr. Mark Light, what's happening? We've heard some utterances coming from Coretta McDonald, Member of Parliament Coretta McDonald, but that's all. I don't know whether those words that she has uttered are officially from the Guyana Teachers Union. I'm not sure. But so far, all of those agencies are quiet. Every single one of them. Ask yourselves why. The Guyana Barbecue Association. Nothing from them. Absolutely nothing. But they were busy parroting their mouths during the course of the elections and right after elections and all manner of things. You would think that the Guyana Bar Association has officially become, a political party. We all know it's a sporting group because it's not a legal entity that is there to legally represent lawyers. I've gone through this already. It's just a barbecue hangout, sit down and talk nonsense. But they're quiet about certain things and run their mouth like you know what? Whenever it's something to do with opposition and opposition people and persons of African descent. They're quick, and I'm saying it because that's what it is. They're not going to say anything about that at all. And we know why. But this judge, I've gone through that last evening. This judge, what he did was absolutely wrong. And I support the teachers not to teach dung tools until this judge issue an apology to all of those hardworking teachers at Queen's College. It is not a disrespect just to the acting headmistress or principal and the acting deputy principal. It's a disrespect to the teaching profession. It is a disrespect to all students across Guyana. And so this judge, this sitting judge, has to do the right thing and apologize. In any other part of the world, this judge would have had to resign. He would have had to resign, but no, not in Guyana. And you can understand that if we hear in the very near future that prisoners who have to appear in front of him will not go. The prisoners who have to appear in front of this judge may not go. May not go. Because of this judge temperament and his haste into just rush through cases. Rush through places. Look, just don't be distracted. I notice there's a bit of distraction here. You know, we don't want this sort of distraction or who call who this and who. This is not a program for that. Let him go on the Madman show whenever he's talking. Not that, you know, that saw people for the first time. You know, nobody describing anybody or who described who, and always so emotional, man. Who described who as who and that. The Guyana Police Force, Bernard De Silva. If you have a problem, and I'm not in the mood of people calling other people derogatory names, because that C word was used to describe everybody. Africans, Chinese, East Indians, everybody, everyone. And the true definition of that word, right? But we're not here to debate that. But when the guy in the police force describing people as persons of African descent as Negroes, 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 and it has become politically incorrect to describe people as Negroes, even though it was used years ago. Our indigenous brothers and sisters do not want to be called Amerindians, and so the politically correct word now is indigenous. But go and defend. I think you're a lawyer. Go and stand up to the police force and tell them that it's derogatory for them to describe persons of African descent as Negroes. Negroes, but some of y'all just want to be so self-righteous and as though you're standing up and you come on, man, come on. You got to be consistent across the board. Be consistent. Now, don't be surprised if a lot of, like I was saying, a lot of prisoners and persons who have been charged don't want to go in front of this judge. Not because he will give them if they're found guilty, and sometimes some of them are found guilty under questionable circumstances, but because they believe that they wouldn't get justice in front of this judge because of his out-of-court behavior. Speaking of his out-of-court behavior, let's see what's happening here. This is 2016. Private criminal charges against Justice Navindra Singh withdrawn. The criminal charges against Justice Navindra Singh were yesterday withdrawn by Magistrate Reneta Singh on the request of Special Prosecutor Glenn Hanuman. Justice Singh had legal action filed against him by policeman Gavin Smith for the use of threatening language, words which incite racial hostility, and for obstructing the free flow of traffic along a main carriageway. 2016, June 23rd, the headline, private criminal charges. That is because, based on what was alleged to have happened, there were no other charges against this sitting judge. And so the policeman in question decided to file private criminal charges against the judge. And one of the allegations leveled against the judge is the usage of, what is it? Not just threatening language, but incite, words which incite racial, I repeat, words which incite racial hostility. Racial hostility. You look at this, racial hostility. How comfortable. If the allegations, obviously, the cop said what he had to say. How would you, as an African Guyanese, feel comfortable appearing in front of any judge or magistrate who has this sort of bias towards or hostility towards a person or persons of African descent? Based on the allegations here we're seeing, persons of African descent shouldn't feel comfortable appearing in front of this judge. I repeat, look at what happened. Gavin Smith, the policeman, for the use of threatening language, words which incite racial hostility, and for obstructing the free flow of traffic along a main carriageway, all because he is a judge. And so no one, absolutely no one, could do or say anything. You got to stop the traffic. You got to make sure that this is not the case. You got to make sure that he states his point that he is a judge. And we heard from the acting principal of Queen's College, where it is alleged that he verbally abused the deputy acting principal and charged in on her to physically harm her. That's according to the report, mind you, according to the report. And a policewoman had to intervene and pushed him off, assuming they're referencing him in that. And so we see that there's a pattern. If there is such a pattern, well, then something is wrong. And in any other part of the world, this judge would have been asked to remove until the outcome of this investigations, or altogether removed from the bench. But not in Guyana. Not in Guyana. Well, I don't know how accurate this report is, but another one's Guyana. Judge allegedly threatens to kill businessman. Calls him, pull out his weapon again on him, forcing the businessman to let the judge know that he was going to the police. Allegations again. Allegations again. But let's take a look at this here now. Let's take a look at this here. This is continuing from this here. This story here. Private charges against Justice Navindra Singh withdrawn. Let's continue. The allegations stem from a heated argument at a traffic sign in early April, between Smith and Singh. On April 12, 2016, Singh had caused his motor vehicle to remain in the center carriageway of Camp Street, thereby obstructing the flow of traffic in contravention of Section 60 of the motor vehicle and blah, 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 blah. On the same day, the policeman claimed that Singh used threatening language against him. The policeman alleged that Singh also threatened to shoot him. Smith further claimed that during the encounter, the judge used words that incited or attempted to incite hostility against him on the grounds of race. The police officer also faced 4 charges based on allegations made by the judge. So y'all see what happened. The policeman said the judge did this. The judge said the policeman did that. Let me see what y'all think about this whole thing. So y'all see what's happening here, right? Y'all see what is happening. And that is why Guyana is what it is under these vagabonds in the PPP. These vagabonds in the PPP. Then there's this case. Arguments conclude in appeal to set aside 81-year prison term. That's 2021. 81-year prison term. This is a case has to do with the killing, the murder of an old lady. Now, people go around killing people and all these things, and you have evidence. Deal with the evidence and convict people based on evidence. So what happened here now? These guys want to quash their conviction of 81 years in prison. They appeal the matter, and this is what the appellate court, came out in the appellate court, seeking to have conviction quashed. In submissions, their lawyers have performed arguments on which they are seeking to have the men's conviction and sentence quashed. Among the grounds being advanced is that trial Justice Singh failed to highlight the deficiencies in the prosecution's case, and in particular, the many contradictions and how they affect the issues in the matter. Now, these are things that the judge must inform the jurors about. By law, he is required to do so, but he didn't. And this is the ground that the lawyers have used to appeal this matter. Now, I've got to check up on what's the conclusion, though. But among the grounds being advanced, I repeat, is that trial Justice Singh failed to highlight the deficiencies in the prosecution's case, and in particular, the many contradictions and how they affect the issues in the matter. Boy, oh boy. Remember what the CCJ did to the DPP? Embarrassed her in the case of Gopal. That QC student that was murdered. The stepfather won the case all the way at the CCJ, and the CCJ justices had a lot to say about this woman who sits there as the DPP. Guyana, huh? 11 minutes after 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. You guys got to do more than just praying for that country. Something is definitely wrong. And I agree with you, Deborah Simons. Guyana is running by a bunch of hooligans. Thank you, Miss Earl. QC student Nisa Gopal was murdered. Her stepfather got off at the CCJ level, and the mother is currently in jail. Now, the mother is in jail not as a result of any concrete evidence against her, but as a result of what she, the mother who was charged with the murder of her daughter along with the stepfather, she allegedly confessed to a convict, a female convict in the New Amsterdam prison, the Noorbrugge, I believe, who was in there on fraud charges and all manner of things. I don't know. I've got to go, man. I've got to go. But yet, people are just quiet about so many things in Guyana, and you just wonder why. Our opposition MPs, most of them are quiet. Most of them are quiet. Not all of them. Most of them are quiet. But when you talk, supporters of some of them, I don't even worry with them. Some of them get vexed. They don't want you to talk, but I'll talk. There's lots of things happening in that country, and most of those MPs are quiet. God in heaven knows why, but they're quiet. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, right here on 107.1 FM. Nancy Pelosi seems to be out. Hakeem Jeffries probably would play a major role in this Congress. But my question is, if the Democrats had retained Congress, whether Nancy would have stepped aside to give way to folks like Hakeem Jeffries. Nevertheless, she's stepping aside, and I bet that Hakeem may very well become the Democratic leader of the House, which means it's a good thing. But thank you for your service, Nancy.
Now we must move boldly into the future, grounded by the principles that have propelled us this far and open to fresh possibilities for the future. Scripture teaches us that for everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. My friends, no matter what title you all, my colleagues, have bestowed upon me, speaker, leader, whip, there is no greater official honor for me than to stand on this floor and to speak for the people of San Francisco. This I will continue to do as a member of the House, speaking for the people of San Francisco, serving the great state of California, and defending our Constitution. And with great confidence in our caucus, I will not seek re-election to Democratic leadership in the next Congress. For me, the hour's come for a new generation to lead the Democratic caucus that I so deeply respect. And I'm grateful that so many are ready and willing to shoulder this awesome responsibility.
For everything, there's a time, there's a season under the sun. Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3, that is. Those of you who read your Bible, you know that's what it is. There's a time, there's a season for everything. There's a time to pluck up. There's a time to not pluck up. There's a time to stand up, and there's a time to sit down. There's a time for peace. And as Haile Selassie I said, when he made that famous speech at the United Nations, I believe in 1947, or correct me, could have been later down. Had to have been later than that, which turned into a song by Bob Marley. You guys know that song. It's time for peace and there's time for war. You guys figure out what's happening in Guyana and what time it is. People are punishing. People are being discriminated against every single day. Every day. And the sad thing is that these folks don't get it. They just don't get it. I'm out of here. God bless you all. Let's keep praying for Guyana. And more than just praying. Because prayers alone wouldn't do the trick. God bless you.
Making the short video for send to you and the viewers and listeners. All know we punishing in Guyana. Punishing. Rice gone up, sugar gone up, flour gone up, cost of living just gone up, gas gone up from 3,400 to 3,800. Real hungry days under this installed PPP government. Real hungry days we gone back to.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Kellyan Mall, 162 Lamaha Street in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins firm.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Basement level vibes with another one, straight up blackness. Aye, who tell the truth? Mark Benscop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benscop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benscop, straight up from the root. Mark Benscop, who tell the truth? Mark Benscop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benscop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benscop, straight up from the root. Mark Benson, stop a do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskap stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskap, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskap, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskap, straight up from the root. Mark Benskap, who tell the truth? Mark Benskap, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskap, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskap, straight up from the root. Mark Benskap, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskap upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and pon the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskap, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskap, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskap, straight up from the root. Mark Benskap, who tell the truth? Mark Benskap, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskap, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskap, straight up from the root. Mark Benskap, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskap stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskap, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskap.